The courtroom was silent. Not the kind of silence that brings calm, but the type that hangs in the air like a brewing storm. Cameras weren't allowed inside, but that didn't stop the world from waiting with bated breath. Every eye in that packed room turned to the tall figure entering the witness box. Justin Timberlake, polished suit, controlled steps, face set like stone. He adjusted the microphone. The judge nodded. The clerk read his name aloud, but no one needed confirmation. The world knew who he was. Outside, chaos ruled. Protesters, fans, press, each screaming over the other. Inside, it was different. A heavy, almost sacred tension cloaked the walls. Timberlake sat, folded his hands and exhaled slowly. If you want to follow more shocking celebrity court revelations like this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay updated. Justin's gaze drifted toward the defense table. There sat Sean "Diddy" Combs, his stare blank, unreadable, neither defiant nor afraid, just distant as if this were someone else's trial. Across from him, Prosecutor Ava Reynolds stood, papers in hand, ready to begin. Ava's voice cut through the silence. "Mr. Timberlake, please state your relationship to the defendant." Justin cleared his throat. "We've known each other for years, socially, professionally. Not close friends, but we've crossed paths many times. And on the night of April 7th, were you present at a gathering hosted by the defendant?" "I was." The courtroom collectively inhaled. Reporters scribbled furiously. "It was in Los Angeles, a private party, industry people, music, drinks, the usual," he said. "Who did you speak with that night?" Ava asked. Justin hesitated. "A few people. Diddy, Natalie Vega." Ava stepped closer. "Can you describe the conversation with Mr. Combs?" Justin looked at the judge, then at the jury. "It wasn't long. He was distracted, but he pulled me aside at one point, said some things that didn't make much sense at the time." "What things?" Another pause. Timberlake's jaw tightened. "He said, 'There's stuff going on right now. It's messy, but it'll blow over. Just don't ask questions.' And then he smiled like it was a joke. A murmur spread across the room. The judge banged her gavel. "Order," Ava continued. "Did Natalie Vega participate in that conversation?" "She was there." She changed the subject quickly. Talked about a tour she was planning. It felt deliberate, like she didn't want him saying more. Ava tilted her head. "Did it strike you as unusual?" "Yes, very." Judge Cartwright leaned forward slightly, watching Justin. She had seen many witnesses in her courtroom, but celebrity brought its own gravity. Still, the truth didn't change with fame. "Did you think Mr. Combs was implying anything criminal?" Justin looked directly at her. "At the time, no, but now, I don't know." "It sounded like someone trying to keep things hidden." Ava nodded. "No further questions for now." The judge turned to Marcus Bell, Diddy's attorney. "Your witness?" Marcus smiled, rising smoothly. "Mr. Timberlake, thank you for being here. We all know your time is valuable." Justin didn't answer. "I just have one question for now," Marcus said, stepping forward. "Did Diddy ever ask you to hide anything?" "No." "Did he threaten you?" "No." Marcus shrugged. "Then it sounds like he just made a vague comment at a party. Thank you." He returned to his seat, satisfied. Justin remained still. As he left the stand for a short recess, whispers exploded. The air had changed. Something had been planted. A seed of doubt, a shadow of truth. And everyone, press, fans, jury, wanted to know how deep the roots would go. The recess ended, but the silence returned. More focused this time, sharper. As Justin took the stand again, he looked different, less guarded, more resigned. The court was leaning in, ready to pick apart every word he spoke. Ava Reynolds rose once more, her tone steady. "Mr. Timberlake, I'd like to return to the night of April 7th. You mentioned a private conversation with Mr. Combs. Was there more to it?" Justin nodded. "Yes. After the first comment, he said something that stuck with me. He said, 'Not everything has to be on record. Some things are safer in silence.'" A gasp from the back of the room. Ava paused. Did you understand what he meant? Not fully, Justin said, but I remember feeling uneasy, like it wasn't just about a party or gossip, like he was warning me. Ava's brow furrowed. Did Ms. Vega react? She tensed up. She smiled and started talking about Europe. I remember her saying something like, "We should focus on the future, not the noise." It felt rehearsed. And how did that conversation end? He got distracted. Someone called him over. That was it. The judge glanced toward the jury. Pens moved in unison. The words were vague, but the undertone was deafening. "Let's talk about your relationship with Ms. Vega," Ava said. Justin hesitated. "We've known each other for years, not close, but we've worked together. There's a mutual respect." "Would you say she was uncomfortable that night?" He took a breath. "Very. I noticed it more in hindsight, but yes." "And Mr. Combs, how did he seem?" "Relaxed, like he was in control, like nothing could touch him." The room held still. Ava paced slightly, building momentum. "Did you feel threatened?" "Not directly, but there was this weight to the way he spoke, like I was being pulled into something I didn't want to be part of." "Did you share this with anyone?" Justin looked down. "No. I didn't know what to make of it." Ava nodded slowly, then sat. Marcus Bell stood. His smile returned, but this time it was tighter. "Mr. Timberlake, again, thank you. I just have a few clarifying questions." Justin stayed silent. "You said Mr. Combs made vague remarks, nothing specific, just ambiguous phrases?" "Yes. And yet you're testifying under oath, suggesting these phrases might indicate criminal intent?" "I'm saying they felt off. But you didn't report them. You didn't follow up. You didn't even speak to Ms. Vega afterward about it, correct?" Justin paused. "Correct. So what changed, Mr. Timberlake? Why are you here now?" A beat passed. "Because things started coming out, and those comments, they took on new meaning." Marcus tilted his head. "Or maybe you're connecting dots that aren't there because of media pressure." Justin didn't blink. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm finally listening to what I ignored." Marcus leaned back. "Fair enough." As he returned to his seat, Justin's eyes flicked briefly to the defense table. Diddy hadn't moved, but something in his stare had shifted, like a man watching a house he built begin to smolder. In the jury box, one woman scribbled quickly. Another just stared at Justin. Outside, the story had already hit every headline. Inside, it was only beginning. The judge called for a lunch break. People stood slowly, but no one spoke. Every thought remained trapped in the charged air, coiled tight. The jury left. The lawyers regrouped. Justin stayed seated a few seconds longer. As he finally stepped down, he knew this wasn't over, not even close. By the time court resumed, the atmosphere had shifted again. The earlier whispers of discomfort had hardened into something heavier. Everyone sensed it. This wasn't just about a party anymore. Ava Reynolds stood, sharper than before. "Mr. Timberlake, I'd like to move beyond the night of April 7th. Did anything happen after that event which made you reconsider the nature of the conversation?" Justin nodded slowly. "Yes. About a week later, Natalie Vega called me." "What did she say?" "She was nervous, kept her voice low. She said, 'We shouldn't talk about that night.' It wasn't what it seemed. I asked her what she meant, and she just said, 'It's better to let it go.'" "And how did that make you feel?" Justin hesitated. Worried, confused, like there was more going on and I wasn't supposed to ask. "Did she mention Mr. Combs?" "She didn't use his name, but she didn't have to." Ava took a breath, choosing her next words carefully. "Did she warn you explicitly not to speak about what happened?" "She said, 'There's a lot on the line, careers, reputations, lives.'" Then she hung up. A chill passed through the room. The implication landed hard. The judge made no move to silence the murmur this time. "Did you try to call her back?" "Yes, she didn't answer. I texted." No reply. "Did you interpret that warning as a threat?" Justin's voice dropped. It felt like one. Ava paused, then turned to the jury. "Let's consider this in context. A vague conversation, a follow-up call, a warning. Mr. Timberlake, did you feel safe after that? I started watching my words, even with people I trusted. Ava's voice softened. Did you tell anyone else? No. Why not? Because I didn't want to be dragged into it. A long silence followed. Marcus Bell rose slowly, his expression unreadable. Mr. Timberlake, let's talk about perception. You're a public figure. You know how quickly things can be misinterpreted, how texts, calls, even silence can become stories. Justin said nothing. Now you claim Ms. Vega warned you. But you didn't record the call. You didn't document anything, you just remember vague phrases. They weren't vague to me. But still not evidence, just feelings. Justin remained firm. Feelings based on how she said it, the fear in her voice. It wasn't casual. Marcus paced slightly. Did she ever say Diddy told her to call you? No. Did she ever mention danger directly? No. Then we're still dealing with suggestion, aren't we? Not fact. I'm telling you what happened. Marcus stopped. And yet, you only decided to speak when the media pressure rose. Why not come forward sooner? Justin looked directly at him. Because I thought staying silent was safer. The court hushed again. The words lingered in the air. Marcus folded his arms. You're a global artist. Are you suggesting you were afraid? I wasn't afraid for me. A beat. Then who were you afraid for? Justin didn't answer. The moment stretched long until the judge finally interjected, Mr. Bell, unless you have further questions. Marcus nodded slightly and returned to his seat. That one unanswered question hung in the air like smoke. Outside, the headlines had already mutated. Inside, the jury began to see Timberlake differently. Not just as a singer pulled into a scandal, but as someone carrying a burden. A friend of Timberlake's later told reporters that the days leading up to the trial were marked by silence, isolation, and a deep internal struggle. He didn't want this, but he knew he couldn't keep quiet forever. And now, sitting there under the lights, it was clear. He had already crossed the line. Justin's return to the stand felt different now. He wasn't just a witness. He was a pivot point in a story no one yet fully understood. Ava Reynolds approached slowly, her tone quiet but pointed. Mr. Timberlake, we're going to revisit another interaction, one that took place 2 months after the April 7th gathering. Do you recall it? Justin nodded. Yes. Where did it happen? In New York, at a studio in Midtown. I ran into Diddy. He invited me to step into a back room. A hush fell again. Who else was there? There was someone else, an artist. I won't name them here unless required. Ava's eyes narrowed. Was Natalie Vega present? No. Tell us what happened. Justin leaned forward slightly. We were talking casually at first, just about music projects. But then he shifted. He said, this stuff, it's noisy. But it can be managed. Ava stepped in. Managed how? He didn't say directly, but then he mentioned someone getting a payout. He said, sometimes it's easier to keep people happy. Quiet money. No trouble. A murmur passed through the benches. The judge tapped once on her gavel. Justin continued, voice steady. I didn't ask who. I didn't want to know. The other artist looked uncomfortable. Diddy noticed and said, relax, it's handled. Did he specify what was being handled? No. But the tone was clear. Ava approached the jury. Mr. Timberlake, why didn't you come forward sooner with this? I was afraid it would explode. And now, Justin's jaw clenched. It already has. She turned to the judge. Your Honor, with the court's permission, we'd like to enter a recording into the record. A voicemail left by Ms. Vega 2 days after this alleged meeting. The judge nodded. Ava played the transcript aloud. Natalie's voice, frantic, echoed, I know you were with him. Don't talk, don't get dragged into this. Please, we're all trying to survive. It hit like a hammer. Marcus Bell rose instantly. Objection. Hearsay. The judge raised a hand. It will be considered with appropriate weight. Marcus approached Justin with renewed fire. Mr. Timberlake, You claim Diddy implied a payoff, yet provide no proof. Just your word. Do you see the danger of that? I'm not making assumptions. I'm repeating what was said. Conveniently, months later, I didn't ask to be part of this, but you chose to testify. I chose not to stay silent. Marcus leaned closer. You still refuse to name the artist who was there. Why? To protect them. From what? Justin's silence was the answer. Marcus turned to the judge. No further questions. Ava rose again. Mr. Timberlake, based on that second conversation, did you feel something illegal had occurred? I felt something was being buried. And did the artist with you confirm anything afterward? No, we never spoke again. Did you want to? I was afraid to. The jury scribbled furiously. The judge watched with a calm mask, but her fingers tapped lightly on the bench. Ava closed her file. That's all for now. As Justin stepped down once more, the courtroom was suspended in a breathless state. No one knew what would happen next. But the story had shifted, from suggestion to implication, from vague memories to moments that could no longer be dismissed. The question on every mind now wasn't whether something had happened, but who else knew, and who might be next. Justin Timberlake stepped down from the witness stand for the final time, his posture more rigid, his expression stripped of any celebrity gloss. He looked less like a performer, and more like a man who had just unloaded a burden he'd carried too long. Outside the courtroom, the storm had reached full force. Reporters yelled questions, headlines updated in real time. But inside, the quiet lingered, broken only by the rustle of papers and the low murmur of attorneys regrouping. Judge Cartwright called a recess. It was brief. When court resumed, something unexpected happened. Ava Reynolds stood, but she wasn't calling a new witness. Instead, she informed the court that Natalie Vega had issued a public statement just minutes ago. She requested permission to read it into the record. The judge reviewed the document. Proceed, Ava read aloud. To the court and the public, I was present the night of April 7th. I witnessed the conversation between Mr. Combs and Mr. Timberlake. I discouraged further discussion not out of guilt but fear. I've remained silent too long. I confirm elements of Mr. Timberlake's testimony, and I am prepared to cooperate fully with the court. The courtroom reaction was electric. Even Marcus Bell froze for half a second. Ava folded the statement with calm precision. Across the room, Diddy remained still, but for the first time his head dipped slightly. Not a performance, not a defense posture, just lowered, as if the air around him had grown too heavy. The defense scrambled for response, but the blow had landed. The next several minutes passed in slow motion. Legal debate resumed, but the momentum had shifted. Timberlake's testimony was no longer an isolated act. It was the first domino. As proceedings paused for the day, the judge reminded the jury not to discuss the case, yet everyone in the room knew this wasn't a normal trial anymore. It had become something else, an unraveling. Outside, Natalie Vega's face appeared on every screen. Her brief press appearance echoed her statement. No details, no names, just a single sentence that cut through the noise. I should have spoken sooner. Justin left through a side exit, avoiding reporters. A friend close to him later shared that he sat in his car for 15 minutes, staring ahead, saying nothing. And Diddy? He remained behind with his team, silent. His usual composure eroded. There were no confident nods, no press statements, just stillness. What happens next remains uncertain. The trial is far from over. More witnesses may come forward, more secrets may break the surface. But one thing is clear. Justin Timberlake's testimony shifted the entire case, not because of theatrics, not because of fame, but because he carried the weight of unspoken truths and finally, quietly, chose to speak them. Whether that truth is complete or just a fragment is still unknown, but it was enough to crack the shell of silence around Diddy's long-protected world. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on this historic trial and more untold stories from behind the celebrity curtain. Click the video on your screen now to uncover the secret files of another witness who may turn the whole case upside down.